Hey guys, it's Robin, RsIslandCrafts. Welcome to my craft room. This is my WiP It Wednesday video where I show you what I've worked on in the craft room each week, whether I just did a couple stitches on a knit project or I spent days and days working on a quilt. Each week when I'm setting up for these videos, I always kind of wander around the craft room and gather all the things together that I've worked on. And I'm always like, doesn't seem like a lot. Oh wait, here's one more project. What else did I work on? Here's another project. So that by the time I get over here to the table, I have a nice little pile to show you. Here's my baby quilt for the week. I think this is quilt number 21. I'm not sure. But this is the bears, and now that you're up closer, you can see all the little polka dots in this white fabric. That was probably hard to see yesterday in the Talk to Me Tuesday show. See all the little bears with their balloons and the flowers, jumping rope, doing handstands, all that fun stuff. And I also made the binding for it. I think this one ended up being, like I always tell you guys, I never measure them until they're done and ready to be, till they're done with quilting. I kind of give a rough measurement for the binding and stuff, but then I never remember. It's probably somewhere around 35 or 36 inches square or thereabouts. And I had this binding, well, I had this fabric that I decided to use for the binding. It has bears on it. You see the different bears? But my concern with it for using it as regular fabric is it's a little thin. Can you see the shadows of the bears underneath? So it's just a little bit thin, and I thought it might not be good to put in a quilt by itself. But for binding, I think it's going to work really well because I've already folded it in half. And then after I stitch it down and fold it back around again, it's going to be a little bit more secure and it's going to have a little bit better sturdiness to it, in my opinion at least. At least that's what my brain is telling me. So I have all of this with the white and the reds and the yellows and greens. I thought it went really good with the bears. And every now and then, whether or not you'll be able to see it when I actually stitch the binding down, but there's some bear faces here and there. So that's all set. I think this week I try to keep you guys organized, but I've just got a big pile over here and I'm just going to grab off the top of the pile and show you whatever I worked on. In this bag is my dragon. And this is where I've been keeping all of his body parts. So I did finish his actual body. Now, as you guys have seen, I haven't stitched them together yet. I work on this after dinner at night sitting in my chair in the living room. So I just kind of keep stitching all the body parts. I need to sit down at the table here and spend some daytime hours and get everything all pinned and organized and put up nice and neat. So that's why I haven't stitched them together. I'm just still working on body parts. So literally a body part. I'm pretty sure you saw both feet last week. Here's his little nubby tail. And I'm now working on the legs. So this is leg number 1. And this, as I'm working on it, this is what it looks like with the toes. I crochet, kind of like I crochet it inside out. This is the way my outside looks. But I prefer to use this as the outside. I kind of like this look of the crochet better. It seems, this side seems to be dull and this side seems to be shiny to me. And it always looks nicer on this side. So after I get to a certain point, I just go ahead and turn it inside out. Because when I'm crocheting, the way I taught myself to crochet is I crochet on the outside of the circle this way. When a lot of people crochet on this side of the circle and then crochet around. So for something like this, I can crochet all the way to the end and then just turn it inside out. And I'll probably be doing the same thing for the legs. It's what I did for the arms until you get to a certain point, and then I'll go ahead and turn it this way and just do the last couple rounds like that. But I just think it's kind of cute with his little toes all curled in there. So for those of you who have just joined me, I'm making 2 crocheted dragons. If you check out my link down below in the description box to Ravelry, you'll be able to see the pictures of them. One is going to be an actual full-size well, not full-size, but a full dragon. And then the other one is going to be a partial dragon, and it's going to be on a blanket. So it's going to be a baby lovey, so that it's just going to be like the head and the wings attached to the center of a blanket. So I'm doing the whole size one first, and then I'll do the partial, because with the partial, you make the head and get all the pieces ready and stuff, and then you start working on the blanket. So it's a little bit different. I figure the full dragon is going to be more fiddly and more parts to do, so I'll do that first. Because once you start doing the blanket just takes a little bit of time. That doesn't take long at all. I worked very little on my socks, so this is one of those projects that I worked just a little bit on. I've knit from here to here, so I've done maybe about 8 rows. I've just started working on my heel. I do the Flegel heel with a vanilla sock, and a Flegel heel is just, this one I do round. A lot of times when you make a heel, you're just going to go back and forth and only work on the heel stitches. The Flegel heel, you work on the entire sock at the same time, and it just makes this little like pouch for your sock, for your heel. It really reminds me a lot of the store-bought socks. So it's just, it fits my heel nice. I like it, and it's easy to knit, and I don't have to worry about picking up stitches and heel flaps and gussets and all that. I knit the gusset right into my socks, and it's a really easy heel for me. This one is ready for me to start to heel. I just haven't gotten to that point, so it is a matching set. Will I finish them by the end of April like I was hoping to? I don't know. I still haven't ordered Robbie's yarn, so I'm still safe. If you've been with me for a while, you might recognize this. This one is my snowman. I decided to take my snowman with me one day while sitting with Rob for one of his IV therapy sessions. It is a bird brain design. It is a Mr. Snowman doorstop, number 626, but I'm not making him into a doorstop. I'm going to make him into a wall hanging. It doesn't really matter. The pattern's still the same. You're going to embroider the same things. So here's Mr. Snowman. He had his arm already done. I worked on this whole section through here. I did the bird and these leaves and the bottom part of his little jacket here. So it was only a couple hours worth of work, but I did make quite good progress there. I also put a little bit of time into my hand-stitched wall hanging quilt. I was measuring this to go ahead and put the 2.5-inch borders on, which I believe they're actually 2 inches. Yes, apparently I cut the fabric at 2 inches. I thought I was going to do 2.5, but they're only 2. But then I was looking at it and I realized I did something a little bit different here that wasn't planned for. It's an oops, it's an accident. I kind of like it. I made this sashing narrower than this sashing. It works out fine because in the rows this way, all the sashings are narrow. I believe these are only a 1/2 inch now, so I started with 1 inch. And these are 1 inch, so I started with 1.5 inches. Who knows, right? And then now my borders are 2 inches, so I'm going to have a little bit of everything. I do have my borders all pinned down. I have my little pencil line drawn for them, so I can go ahead and just whip it through. I did decide to pin all 4 down. So I thought what I was going to do is, when I work on one border, I just have these little extra flaps from the other sides. I have them out of the way. I can just go ahead and stitch this down, remove all my pins, do the same thing on this side, and then when I come back to the other ones, I can take the pins from there, just fold this back down and add a pin to the corner because I have all these pinned on here. I just wanted to make sure it was very mobile and ready, because when you're doing this long stretch like this, it doesn't take as long to do a hand stitch because you're just going like this, right? Versus all these little half square triangles and things like that. This is just going to whip through really quick. I'm hoping to finish this up this week. No promises to myself, but that is my plan. Make sure all my pins are to the front so I don't stab myself. So like I said, it's just 4 little sides to it, the little borders, and then the top will be finished. Maybe. I was been thinking about this, and I've been thinking, do I want to put binding on it? I'm not sure I want to have the thickness of binding on it. So then I thought, okay, well I can face it, but I don't want it to end with just white and going off into space. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do is after I do these borders, I'm going to go ahead and let it sit for a little bit. But what I'm thinking is I'm thinking about grabbing a darker batik and making a thin border all the way around. Maybe just 1.5 inches like this one so it finishes as 1 inch just to frame it. And then I'm going to put facing on the back. So I thought that way I'd get a nice frame on it so it would look like binding, but I won't have that actual thickness of binding. And then I really enjoy having small wall hangings without any binding. I really like the look of facing. I like how it's flat against the wall and it doesn't have any of that thickness. So I think that's what I'm going to do with this. I just have to decide which color. I almost said which flavor of fabric, which color of fabric I want to have for that final darkness, and whether I want to have it all one color or maybe I want to have a mixture of some of these. I'm kind of leaning towards one dark color, towards a dark gray, dark black, dark mottled like this. Maybe not like a dark purple or something. I want something really deep, a mahogany black, something along those colors. Be careful with this one so I don't stab myself. Now the next thing I worked on is I worked on Rob's Afghan. It's getting so big now we have to turn it this way so you can see it in the whole picture. Let me see where my little stitch marker is. I took this with us to chemo last time, and I thought, I mentioned it before that I'm having a hard time sitting during chemo. I tend to talk to people a lot, and I find that it feels weird to be knitting and talking to people, but I have no problem crocheting. Maybe it's because it's harder, the projects that I take, it's harder to pay attention in the knitting than it is to crochet. And this past week when I went, it seemed like maybe I had a look on my face because I was tired or something, but not as many people came up and talked to me. So I got a lot done. I put 11 rows onto Rob's little Afghan here. So that's what it's looking like. I was doing a big chunk of red, but then I thought it's getting to be a little bit too much red. So let me go ahead and throw in 2 rows of gray, and then I'll go back to the red. I'm still in my first skein, so it's starting to fall apart a little. I might go ahead and wind this up. And I think I'm going to make this whole skein, this section in here, and I'll probably throw some gray in every now and then I have a second skein of this to work on. So that's where Rob's little Afghan here is going. I think it's coming along really well right now. When I started packing up at the end of the chemo day last Thursday, I was really shocked at how much progress I'd made on it. So I was very pleased. So this is definitely going to go back with me this week to chemo. We tend to sit at the back of the room. The room is set up, it's a square-ish, rectangle square. And they have chairs here and chairs here and chairs here. Then in this back section, you have this kind of like a horseshoe U-shaped, where there's chairs facing the windows, and then there's chairs at the windows facing this way. Rob and I like to sit back here so our backs are to the window, so if there's any sun coming in, we get that extra heat, because they keep these chemo places freezing. I think I saw the thermometer one day, and it was 68 or something in there, 64. They keep it very, very cold. Plus, it's a big open room, so you have to keep it colder to keep it cool type situation. Everyone wears heated blankets there. The visitors, I don't use one because I usually have something like this on my lap. This kept me very warm. But yeah, so we like to sit in the back and we like to people watch. So this was really good. I just sat there and I had my headphones in watching YouTube, and I was just crocheting away and we're people watching, and it was just nice. Like I said, we put ourselves off to the side so we don't get, Rob likes to sleep and we don't get as many interruptions that way, so it works out really good. So that's it for me this week. I dabbled a little. I did do some other things. I have a little video that I'm going to put up. I did some cross stitch for my daughter, and she picked up some frames that she wanted to have it put in, but she didn't buy actual picture frames. Apparently she found some nice things and she bought, they're more like shadow boxes. They're not the deep kind, they're narrow kinds, and they had some flower prints in it. And she's like, Mom, why would someone want to hang pictures of flowers on the wall? Yeah, that's my daughter. She's more of a tomboy. So I'm going to put that video up here. So my daughter bought these sets of 3 of these picture frames. She thought they were picture frames, but they're actually they're sort of like paintings, but drawings, whatever. But these things were really maybe a shadow box type situation. But they had that picture in it. The one I took out was this really pretty flower. And the reason she bought these is for her Harry Potter stuff that I've been making her. So let me show you what I put in one. I made this a couple years for her. This is a cross-stitched. They're all the curses and stuff, or the things you say with the wand, whatever they're called, the magical spells from Harry Potter. And then you've got Harry, Ron, and Hermione at the bottom. So I went ahead and cross-stitched this for her. Sorry about the shaky hands. There you go. Kind of see where they're just all the different spells, the magical spells. And then there's the characters down there. That's one of the things I've been working on. This is the one for my son Justin. This one's always, so that one needs to be worked on. I need to add a little bit of fabric around the outside because it's really close. And I don't know how, I'll see how it looks with this frame. But I have this Gryffindor and Harry Potter with all the Slytherin, Ravenclaw, and Hufflepuff. So I have this fabric that I'm going to go ahead and stitch a little thin border around it. So where my daughter's had the white base around it, he'll probably just have the fabric like this. And then the third one, I have another embroidery that my daughter already has of just an outline of Harry himself, and that's going to go in this one. So I'll go ahead and put that video up in just a minute. I have a couple things I want to still talk to you about and show you, and then you'll see that. So I worked on that. That took me most of a day because I had to take apart this shadow box, take out all these nails and pins, take the paper off, figure out how to do everything and get her cross stitch ready. I have another one that I need to work on for my son Justin, my oldest. That'll be later on this week. And the other thing that I've been working on is, since we've been so busy and we've been adding more things into our day now, we've set Rob up so he has some home health that comes to the house. So a nurse comes to the house 2-3 days a week to check on him. We've got occupational therapy, we have physical therapy, we've had social workers come in just to get us all set up to make sure we have all the tools on hand that we need so that I can properly take care of Rob and make sure everything's good. Because sometimes during the week we're like, is he sick? Is there a problem? Is this just a chemo reaction? So it's nice to have these extra people come in. And I wanted to make sure he got some physical therapy because after losing all that weight and stuff, because he's lost 100 pounds in the past year, over 100 pounds, that his muscles have gotten really, they've basically gotten atrophied. They're gotten a little weak. They're getting a little stiff. So I want someone to come in and make sure that he's going to be as strong as he can be so he can keep taking care of himself to the point that he can. You know, so he can wander out to the kitchen and grab a snack when he wants to, so he doesn't always have to feel dependent on me. So that takes up time. That takes up an hour or two every day, and then I've got taking care of him, and you got the house, and blah, 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 blah. So, you know, time goes by. So my craft room got quite messy. My center is pretty good, but all around the border, it felt like it started caving in on me. I've gotten stacks of stuff everywhere. So on Monday, in between the physical therapist and going for IV therapy, I started tearing apart my room. If you've over with me on Patreon, you'll have seen my shelf in my bedroom. That's just a catch-all that has all kinds of craft stuff on it. I took everything off that shelf and I put it in boxes. Then looking at the shelf is a little bit too wobbly, so I think I'm just going to go ahead and purchase new shelves from Walmart. I'll just have them sent to the house so I don't even have to worry about going to the store. So I need to have a new shelf to put fabric on. I need to have a shelf to store all my little bits. So like when I want to work on fabric postcards, I can just easily grab it and work on it instead of having to unbury all my supplies, grab some here, grab some there, and a little bit there, and get to the sewing table. Oy, it's just been bothering me. So I'm taking that extra time and setting aside some of my knitting projects and just working on getting my craft room up so that it's backed into control that I like, so I can easily work in there. So when I only have an hour or 20 minutes, I can go in, do what I need to, and get out. And I won't have to constantly be searching for things and moving around piles. Once I get it all done, I'll go ahead and do another little room tour and show you how I got everything situated. And that'll probably be over on my Patreon channel. So one more thing I wanted to show you. Many of you know you watch Kate at the Last Homely House, her YouTube. I'll go ahead and put a little link up in the iCard. It's kind of hard to describe what type of channel Kate has. She kind of does it vlog style, where she takes you through her day and she talks to the camera and we see what's going on. We go out to her garden. We see different crafts that she's working on. But I don't really consider it vlog like you see all those big family vloggers and stuff. This is more like just hanging out with Kate in her craft room. So she recently had a giveaway, and I got really lucky, and my name was drawn as one of the winners. And the things that I chose, she had these cards. They're just regular cards. There's Kate there. And I got the craft supply ones. So on the back here is a picture of her buttons and stuff. But I wanted to show you, first of all, how beautiful the pictures are. But check out this. This is really, it's really sturdy. It's not like cardstock. It's this really sturdy card. Now, I'm not going to be using these as cards. I'm going to be putting them in picture frames and hanging them up in my craft room. That's why I chose the one with the craft supplies. Now, they are a little bit shiny, But this is one of her quilts. I believe this is the Liberty fabric. I don't know Liberty fabric from one other thing. This is not my style of fabric, as you know. All the different colors like this. I love the colors, but I'm really not into all the flowers and stuff. So I believe this is Liberty fabric. And it's on a stone wall. So that's really pretty. Now I know this is Liberty fabric from a quilt or a pillow. I believe it goes this way. So that's real pretty. Then we have the old spools of threads. Nice colors. These are wool balls where you just stitch on the little beads and everything to decorate them. And I just love the fabric and the background, the color of everything. And then come on, it's a craft room. It's a quilter's craft room, so you gotta have a stack of fabric, right? And then Kate wrote me a lovely note. This is in her sunsets or sunrises. I believe it's a sunset collection. Might be sunrises and sunsets. And this is the one she wrote me a note in, so I got an extra one this way. So I've got all of my craft supplies ones, but I got a bonus one. So I thought that was great because she could have wrote me a note in one of these, but she wrote me an extra note in a different card, so that's wonderful. I'm going to be able to frame this and hang it up also. So go check out Kate's channel. She has cards like this in her shop. You'll find all the links that you need in her videos and on her YouTube channel. So if you like a mixture of crafting and chatting, because we all know I like to chat and listen to people chat, you can go check out Kate's channel and see what she's up to. She's got all these cats that go wandering around, and now that we're coming into spring and summer, you're going to be able to see her beautiful garden. She takes us on little tours and everything. So stay tuned for that little video about the project I did for my daughter Miranda. And other than that, I'll see you guys next time. Have a great week. Don't forget to leave down in the comments what you guys have been working on this week. And if you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and like it and subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed. And if you want YouTube to let you know every time I put a video up, just go ahead and ring that little bell down there and they'll send you a notification. Bye!